I mean, I was watching, what's his name? Everybody hates him. Something Collins. Maybe it's not Collins.
Skip Bayless.
Nope. It's almost as bad as Skip Bayless. It's like the tier under Skip Bayless.
Well, without the crimes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway. But no, he had this whole take when Ben Simmons came to the league.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's LeBron. You can go now. It's okay. You can leave. Ben Simmons is here now.
That's a crazy take. That is a crazy take.
Oh, crazy he looks take. So dumb now. So dumb. I mean, Ben Simmons hasn't even played any meaningful basketball since his like rookie year, and even then it was no LeBron James.
That's okay. Whoever that is probably picked the Rams to beat the Vikings. So at least they didn't do that.
Probably. Matty Stafford. I told you, bro. I just wanted Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold, I think that the last 2 losses of the seasons are going to get him the exit out of Minnesota, and it's such a good fit for him.
Yeah.
You know, and it just makes
coming to Allegiant Stadium near you, Sam Darnold.
I wouldn't be mad at it.
Yeah.
Dude, there's talks about Geno Smith coming, and I'm like, bro, please, God, no.
All right. Here we go. Welcome to episode 26 of To the House. If you need homeless or at-risk youth, behavioral health as well, services, take it to my house. I got to figure that out.
Yeah, we got
to change that. Take it to 300 North Willow Street, downtown Wasilla. Isaac Smolden, Brian Fields.
Hello.
Ozzy's back from San Diego. How was your fellow countrymen about the Chargers? They're probably all wearing black.
They're in mourning.
In sackcloth, ashes.
They're like, we had Phillip Rivers, and now we have Justin Herbert who's doing the same thing to us.
Ozzy doesn't understand that reference.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. There's always next year. Okay. So, obviously, the Super Bowl matchup is set.
Yeah.
And we're not going to spend a ton of time on this because there's some pretty big news that is not Super Bowl related. I would like to point out that I am on video. I've had some bad takes over the course of this project, but I'm on video saying Eagles denied the three-peat against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Oh my God.
If the Eagles win,
I like how you
I will nail that.
You're trying to have redemption. I still need the clip of you going on. No, but I need it side by side. I need the clip of you going on a rant, and then I need the clip of the forced fumble and just the look of despair. I need that together, and I need that immediately.
Edit it yourself.
You look foolish, and I told you looked foolish, and you just kept doing this number, right? You just.
What are you doing right now? What are you doing right now? What is this
digging.
like war
you were
role
digging.
reversal?
Dude, I'm trying to be the next Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless. Come on now.
I don't want to be Skip Bayless because I'm assuming that you're Shannon in that scenario based off of
you could be Shannon.
I could be Shannon. I'm not going to touch this.
We're not going
to be honest with you. I feel like I need to get out of here.
Yeah. Moving on.
So let's recap those games quick. So, speaking of residential treatment, I work the night shift for you.
Yeah.
We're hiring new people, and we will be hiring more people when the building's done.
Hiring.
Keep that in mind. If you have a peer support certification or want to work at my house, you can be working that 11 p.m. to 8 a.m. shift.
The night shifts are filled.
Night shifts are covered.
We're looking for swing shift now.
There's other stuff.
Swing peer supports is what we're looking for.
Anyway, I was at residential, and so I slept in, and my goal was to wake up for the first game. I was like, okay, a little nap. I'll be a little bit tired. I'll wake up. No. Wham! Missed the entire first game, slept till 3. So tell me what Eagles Commanders was like.
So I wish that I could tell you. We should have had this conversation before we went on air.
Oh, whoops. We need to bring in someone.
I had to work all weekend. So I unfortunately missed the game as well. I watched the highlights.
Okay.
And Saquon is what
I mean, that's the general
initially
consensus.
happened. I think Jalen Hurts got a little too much praise because he had one good game. And he's kind of calling out his coach a little bit. So there's still some dysfunction going on in Philadelphia.
They've had weird dysfunction, like the whole AJ Brown's reading.
If they did not have, that's why Saquon deserves the MVP. Because if they didn't have Saquon, they would not be going to the Super Bowl.
If there is, first of all, Giants.
You look foolish. You look foolish. And I just want to this is where we clip the phone call from Hard Knocks of just hey man, I think the best thing to do is just let you test the market, What? What? You know how insulting that was to Saquon? He's
stupid.
And what they were essentially saying to Saquon is that you think you're worth $13 million a year, which he's probably worth 15.
Yeah, I mean, he might probably. If they win a Super Bowl, he's worth more than that.
He's worth QB numbers.
Yeah.
And what you said to him is, we don't think that you're worth that. So go out there and prove us right, and then we'll pay you what we think you're worth.
He's okay.
And we'll sign Devin Singletary and be just fine.
Whoops.
And
the Giants beat the Seahawks this year, so I'm going to stop before I start throwing my stones around in this glass house. I think this is encouraging for Eagles fans because you look at those last two games, it's the Rams almost came back. They kind of just kind of squeaked by. They didn't squeak by, but it wasn't like a convincing win over the Packers. Yeah. They beat the brakes off the Commanders.
Yeah, they kept it. The Commanders tried. They were outmatched.
And their lack of defense finally caught up.
Yep. Yeah. Because I think a lot of what happened with the Commanders, a lot of what they were doing is their energy was beating teams. They 100%. Were just full throttle energy coming at you consistently. And I think the Rams or the Lions got overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel like that was. But I don't know, man. I think that anytime you can put your backups in the championship game, it's a pretty good game. And you would think everybody would be happy, right? But in Philly, everybody's still not happy.
Well,
and
because they're playing the Chiefs.
No, it's not. It doesn't have to do with the Chiefs. It has to do with
Or you're talking about the team is not happy.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the fans.
No.
I was the fans are probably a little concerned. But, the locker room's a mess.
Yeah, the locker room.
It doesn't make, that analogy, winning solves all your problems. It's just not. They just keep winning.
Yeah.
And it's everyone still hates each other.
What do you look like a fool? You fire your coach who's brought you to the Super Bowl twice in the last 5 years.
Well, you might as well hand the Chiefs their three-peat if you it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen this year, but even in the offseason, even if they lose the Super Bowl, where do you go? Because the dysfunction that is being allowed has to be a leadership flaw.
Yeah. I agree.
And so I don't know. The offseason is going to be interesting for Philadelphia, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do against the Chiefs. I think I'm a little worried for the Chiefs just because of Saquon, and I watched some of the Bills game.
Yeah, so that one I watched in its entirety. And another great game. Cook was back and forth.
Dude, Cook was cooking. And if they let him cook, what is Saquon going to do? That's my concern. And so,
but here's the thing. So once again, we go into that game in our bracket going into the week. We said, who are you going to take? Well, all logic based off of every stat, based off of the season matchup, based off of everything says you take the Bills. Once again, the Chiefs find a way to win a game by one possession.
I feel so bad for the Bills.
Oh, Bills fans just
0-4. This is the new Tom Brady, Peyton Manning.
Well,
and so my head is
but Peyton Manning won 2 Super Bowls.
But Peyton Manning he kept running into the wall.
Yeah,
that was Tom Brady.
Yeah,
every playoffs.
It's crazy that the Bills twice in their history have a streak of 4 consecutive losses.
Yeah.
One in the Super Bowl, and then now to the same exact team.
Yeah.
And so, Brian, obviously recency bias is a thing here, but which of those to you is worse? Is it worse to never see a Super Bowl because you keep getting bounced by the Chiefs and it's the same exact team and you just point at one thing? That's what we can't get past. Or is it worse to choke in 4 consecutive Super Bowls?
I think So here's the deal, though, is like the Bills have tried to beat them every single way that they possibly can. They've tried to beat them with defense and like turning, like even like got some turnovers on Mahomes. They've tried to beat them with Josh Allen being a gunslinger, right? They've tried to beat them now like on the ground. They have tried everything and cannot do it. And so like I think it's worse if he never seen a Super Bowl. The thing that is going to be, whether he gets bounced by other teams at this point, what is going to be in history for Josh Allen is that he could not beat Mahomes in the playoffs.
He is a lock Hall of Famer.
Lock.
If he wins, I think, one Super Bowl with the numbers that he's put up. If he continues
to... Is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer?
Oh, man. I'm writing that one. Hang on. Let me write that down. That's a summer conversation. No, but like...
What? Okay, we won't get into it.
I don't think we should get into it because we have two other things that we should be moving on to.
Yeah.
Just brutal.
But that will be his legacy though. Yeah. Josh Allen's legacy will be that he could not get over it, and Peyton Manning had to go to Denver to do it.
Well, he won one with the Colts, but they didn't go through the Patriots that year, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So I don't know, man.
Brutal. We have Chiefs, Eagles. I think we'll focus more on the matchup next week. We'll bring Roger in. We didn't want to bring in Shannard today because I don't want her to quit. We just hired people. And I don't want to lose her.
Keep your head up, Shannard. Our hearts are with you.
Yeah, we're thinking of you. Thoughts and prayers, Shannard. Okay, so we have two major stories. And I've been leading things, so let's throw it to you here because lost in all of the playoff stuff. The Raiders made a decision.
They made a decision.
I'm curious for your take.
And Sneaky Pete is now the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. And I am disgusted.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
You know what's great about this is that this format gives us the perfect opportunity to talk about Pete Carroll. Yeah. Because he's only coached for one other professional NFL team.
No, he hasn't.
Well, head coach, right?
No.
I thought he went straight from USC to the Seahawks.
No, he was the head coach for the Jets.
What?
And then he went to USC for a year or two.
Oh gosh, before he went. Oh,
and he's coached in the NFL like on numerous teams, different position coaches, defensive coordinator.
As long as I've been alive and able to watch. Okay, so just edit that out. Let's just pretend I know what I'm talking about.
We're not going to do that.
Okay, anyway, his most famous coaching position, longest tenured, was with the Seahawks.
Everybody is like super hyped about it. I don't not like Pete Carroll. I think a lot of the takes are accurate. You know, like you need a leader, you need a culture setter, you need all of these things. But this feels like a typical, bless you.
Sorry. Maybe restart that sentence. I tried to stop it.
Yeah. This feels like a typical Raiders move of trying to catch up to the game, right? Like you're making the move that you should have made like 5 years ago. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it's going to work. Pete Carroll brought back defensive coordinator Patrick Graham, which I don't love either. To me, he's a mid-tier defensive coordinator. And with Pete Carroll being a defensive guy, I thought that was very interesting. Because I would have thought he would want more of his fingerprints on the defense, but it's clear he wants to keep some continuity. And the other concern is it felt like in the press conference that they were trying to speak to Max Crosby and trying to keep Max Crosby happy. And I don't love that because last year we did a thing to make Max Crosby happy and ended up with Antonio Pierce and only won 4 games on the season. I think I like that they're going to be more aggressive. I like the firing of Telesco, even though he had really good draft picks last year. I think Spytek will be more aggressive, and I think this team needs to be aggressive. Like not drafting a first-round quarterback since 2007 is unacceptable.
This can't be the year that you do it, though, right?
I don't know. I think it's going to be the year. I think Jackson Dart is climbing up draft boards, which I don't love. I think he's a second-round talent, but I think he's going to get pushed based on need into a first round pick.
There's a lot of hungry teams out there at the QB position.
Who's super hungry, and I mean, I wouldn't hate it if they signed a free agent quarterback.
So this is, and you're a fan of the Raiders, so I have a outside view of this. Obviously, Pete Carroll's time at the end of his tenure with Seattle was not. It wasn't even bad. It was just mid. You know, it was. Yeah. It's been the Seahawks for the last 5 years is mid. Yeah. But you know, they didn't have the weapons. They didn't have those big defensive pieces. Message in the locker room probably gets a little bit stale.
Yeah.
He still was not the worst coach in the league.
No.
He still was a competent NFL coach. He's been around for a long time. And I think that to me, looking at the Raiders from the outside, I see this as a no risk gamble.
Yeah.
You bring Pete Carroll in. What's he known for? He's known for, good locker room culture.
Yeah. High energy.
Yeah. Doesn't make a ton of mistakes from a coaching perspective during the game.
Right.
And ultimately, I think if you are like, if you're giving Pete Carroll a tribute that's going to boost your team's stats, it's culture, right?
Yeah.
He's like a culture. He improves the culture as a whole with him in the center. And the Raiders have a gigantic culture problem. The Raiders are a tire fire.
They can't get the city to buy in. They can't, they are failing miserably. So I get the swing. I just don't love it because I just feel like I feel like Pete Carroll can still coach. But how do you build long-term success with a coach that's 73 years old? But
here's the thing. If Pete Carroll doesn't work out and your team bottoms out, you still have the option to go and get that first-round QB. If you're going to be a bottom feeder for the next 2 years, you're going to get good draft picks. Hopefully your new GM is able to do something with that. The
Raiders don't know how to do that.
And the tenure new guys, clearly. New culture, right? New culture. Pete Carroll was involved on the GM side of things, pretty heavily as well.
Yeah.
So you bring 2 new guys in. Hopefully you use those draft picks if you're bad. If Pete Carroll can get you mid and get more of the city to buy in, that's good too. So either Pete Carroll changes the culture, the team does well, or Pete Carroll isn't a fit, doesn't have any more, the team sucks. You use those picks to get draft picks or to get your first round quarterback talent, to get the young depth going. Yeah. And then you fire Pete Carroll. Yeah. Because the tenure, the shelf life for NFL coaches that are not having success is like 2 years tops, right? So if you suck for the next 2 years, he's gone. You've got the picks. You bring in someone else new. Hopefully he at least helps your team culture, and you move on from there. I mean, what do the Raiders have to lose at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I get it. I just, like I said, I just feel like it's one of those, like, the league has moved on and we're going to try to try to catch up, you know? And so I don't see it working very well. I like the Spy Tech hire, the GM hire. I think he's been around the league a long time. He's won some Super Bowls. And I think that I'm sick of having GMs that are so afraid to get fired that they don't make.
Yeah. You gotta make tough decisions.
You have to, right? And because you get hired to get fired in the NFL anyways. You know what I mean?
Any professional sport these days. I mean,
yeah. So go out swinging, and I think that they will. And I like that the GM and coach seem to pair very well because Pete Carroll's known also, like when he took over the Seahawks, it was a ton of transactions, taking swings at quarterbacks, and then you end up getting lucky and hitting on Russell Wilson in the 4th round. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like we're just gonna settle for this guy and because he's the guy we paid.
Yeah,
no, we're gonna keep looking.
Yeah,
and so. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what the Raiders do and where they go and I don't know. I'm definitely.
I think you should look at the positives because I don't think that the negatives.
It's been 20 some years of trying to look at the positives. Don't tell me to try to be positive about a dumpster fire organization that can't seem to get it right and then wants to bring Tom Brady in and think that he's going to be the Messiah. Like, get out of here. Sorry.
I feel like that gives me a free Mariners rant whenever I want. Like I'm taking my coupon and I'm putting my punch card in for free Mariners rant. Okay. All right. I'm just saying it's new people. It's new people. So, yes, you have the history of the organization, but, you got to at least give them a chance before I think you go down dark 26 years of garbage road, even though that is the case. Last story. So, this is, I'm going to try to fill you in because this is a big deal.
Yeah.
And I want to put it in perspective for you. So, I'm wearing my Mikko Rantanen jersey.
Yeah.
Which is one of only, so I have a signed Nathan McKinnon jersey. I have my one that I wear. This is the only other Avalanche jersey I have that has a player and a number on it.
Mm-hmm.
And this player and this number no longer plays for the Colorado Avalanche. The Avs made a blockbuster.
I should show you my collection sometime of the Raiders. We go back as far as Mari Cooper and Jerry Rice.
So this trade is an absolute blockbuster. The Avalanche trade Mikko Rantanen to the Carolina Hurricanes for Martin Necas, a Jack Drury, a 4th-round pick, and a 2nd-round pick. The Chicago Blackhawks sit in the corner and collect half of Mikko Rantanen's salary as a favor to the Hurricanes and send the Hurricanes former MVP Taylor Hall for a 3rd-round pick. So really quickly, the Blackhawks, stupid. They suck, but they gave up a retention slot and like $4 million of cap space.
Why?
Taylor Hall, because they're run by morons. So they gave up the cap space, Taylor Hall, and in return, all they got was a 3rd-round pick. Universally in hockey circles, we all think the Blackhawks are dumb. The core of this trade is Rantanen going to the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes getting 2 players, one of whom, Mikko Rantanen, is a point-a-game player. He leads, I think in the last 5 years, he's tied for 3rd for goals scored per game in the playoffs. Like, this dude is a dog. They call him the Moose. When he scores, they say the Moose is loose. So Hurricanes, who have had trouble getting over the hump, get a certified
I feel that, Ozzy.
Dog.
I'm thinking the same thing.
They also get Taylor Hall, who has slumped a little bit, but is a former league MVP winner just like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Still kind of at the tail end of his prime, right? The Avs get Martin Necas, 2 picks, and Jack Drury. Martin Necas, who has slotted right into their top 6. Jack Drury, an important depth piece that offers a lot of defensive upside. 2 picks for a guy that was a UFA, and by all accounts, who it sounded like they were not going to be able to re-sign at a number that they wanted. Mm-hmm. Jack Drury signed long-term. So while the Avalanche get worse, they get a ton of value for a guy that they were going to lose for free at the end of the season. And they free up cap space to make moves for the playoffs. So as an Avs fan, I'm happy with this trade. It sucks. Sucks to see Mikko Rantanen gone, but happy with this trade. And I'm happy for the sport of hockey. And I'm going to make a plea again to why people should be following hockey, because this to me shows how great of a place the NHL is product-wise.
Oh Lord.
This is a trade for 2.
This is a fan take.
This is the first. Listen, this is the first time that 2 players that are a point-a-game player have been traded for each other in any sense. The last time it happened was in 1991 in the NHL. We're weeks away from the trade deadline. This is a middle of the season trade, and it is, I think, the biggest trade in North American professional sports since Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff. This is a big deal. I implore you to give me a trade off the top of your head where any player that is as core to either team was swapped for each other, obviously with some other bits being thrown over the walls back and forth. Like, this is a huge trade for both teams. And I think it's good for the league that there are teams willing to do this, that are willing to take these swings and be a little bit ruthless, right?
Yeah.
Like, this guy's a fan, both those guys, fan favorites on either side, right?
Yeah.
Out the door. I don't think, like in the NBA, I have the biggest 25 sports trades in all time, right? 90% of them are, oh yeah, in the NBA, this guy got picked up and there was like 16 assets, none of which I've ever heard about for Paul George or something, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't see this happening, and it makes me happy that it's the league I follow the most where there's major movement like this. And now that I've walked you through the importance of it, I'm curious to your thoughts. Like, do you think that other teams in other leagues should emulate this approach and take swings? Because I think that this is what we're missing at the trade deadline in so many sports these days.
I think in the NBA, yes. I think the NBA is desperate for some news, some breaking news, some shakeup, some like get some fans excited about some stuff. In the NFL, no.
You don't think? Because again, the comparable I'm making is Jared Goff or Matt Stafford. I would argue that's worked out for both teams.
I think there's arguably enough movement in the NFL and enough buy-in already that you don't necessarily need to just be like. And there's big trades that happen in the NFL all the time. So I don't see it in the NFL. In the NBA needs a shot of life or something because they're dwindling.
Well, in baseball right now, the only story is how the Dodgers are going to single-handedly ensure that there is a salary cap in place next contract negotiation because of how much stupid money they're spending.
Giving out, yeah.
How much have the Mariners spent? Well, they got some bargain bin prospects once again. Hopefully this time it'll work. Let's run it back for the 48th time. Anyway, no, this is a big deal for the sport. This is a big deal for sports in general. I hope that more GMs see this, and I think this trade has a high probability of being the right move for both teams, which is not usually. I mean, we've been harping on how the Giants letting Saquon walk was an absolute disaster, right? You either make the wrong move or the right move, and one side benefits. I think this could play out well for both sides involved. And GMs, pick up your phones. Make something happen. Like you just kind of said about the Raiders. Stop trying to protect your job. Make some moves that are, if they work, you win a championship. If you lose, you get fired.
Yeah.
Oh, well, put your name behind something.
Yeah.
Get bold. Okay. Well, that was covered a lot of ground.
Covered a lot
of sports.
Yeah.
Next week, Super Bowl preview. We'll throw Roger in here.
Yeah.
He's been a little bit insufferable this week.
Yeah. This week, like all the playoffs.
I mean, hopefully, I don't even want to throw it out into the universe. I'm not going to get jinxed. Even when we're rooting against Roger, sports bring us together.
Kind of.
We'll see you next time on To the House.